Granted, can you please confirm whether my screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, sir,
or
it
not?
is. Yeah, it's visible, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Has everyone come back?
No, sir.
Okay.
But we'll start, sir. They'll join. We'll start. Just a minute, sir.
Okay, my dear teachers, if you are present here and if you are hearing me, can you please type I can hear you or simply yes in the chat box? If you can hear me properly, then can you please take a moment to type something in the chat box? Can type anything. Thank you, Leena ma'am. Leena ma'am is with us. She's very studious and she is with us in the meeting right now. Unfortunately, no other soul is here. Sridevi madam is here. I hope everyone is doing good and a little bit worried about, maybe worried about the fact that we have taken a little more than expected in the morning session. We collectively owe apology for you.
Welcome back to session 11. We are straight away going to our session 11. So let me invite Ms. Arifa PA, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Applications, MES College, Marampalli, to welcome our resource person. Ma'am, please.
Good morning to all. Now the second session is handled by Mr. GOKUL G. NAIR, Junior Knowledge Officer, ICT Academy of Kerala. He pursued his BTech in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Kerala University. He started his career as a trainer and has 7 years of experience in teaching. He started his parallel education skill development facility, SK Education Foundation, to improve the quality of formal education among school and college students, and devoted himself in non-academic research in a novel pedagogy, science and technology for millennials. It's a great pleasure to welcome such a noted personality as our resource person today. On behalf of Department of Computer Applications, MES College, Marampalli, I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that nice introduction. I'm so happy to be here with us. So I hope my teachers are here. Can you please confirm whether the trainers are with us? And I hope you guys can see me. Hi, dear everyone. Let's get back to some more tools that can be used, or some of the activities that we can use in our Moodle platform. Has everyone come back? So can I proceed with this session with the fact that everyone is here with me?
So you can start the session, sir.
Give me a moment, please. I'm trying to share my screen. Can you please confirm whether you are seeing the screen with our ATAL-FDP Moodle Cloud platform?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
Welcome, everyone. So let's jump start into another facility or another activity that we can add to our Moodle Cloud. So we are going to jump start. We are going to right away to create another thing. I hope you are well aware that we are going to learn about forums. So let's take a moment to think what really is a forum. If anyone is here with us and hearing us, please tell me, what is a forum? We are going to create a simple thing. So these kind of things is not going to be a burden for you. It's going to be very simple thing. So we are going to create. So we are going to do this activity in the course.
Forum, I'm sorry, can I answer?
Yes, Sandeep Goyal sir is going to talk about, sir, what is a forum? So we just going to ignite.
Forum is like, a community, what we create a community online, and on which we can have different topics, discussion points on which, that we can share our knowledge, our thoughts, etc.
Very good. Thank you so much, sir. Sandeep Goyal sir nailed it. So it is a medium. So let's say, if it's not an actual, so let's say in this platform, in this cloud platform, we can say that it's a medium where ideas and views on a particular issues can be exchanged between students and teachers. So we have such a facility or a tool in Moodle. Let's jumpstart and let's try to access that. I'm going to make some changes to this particular course. For the sake of the activity, I have created a section sample here. I'm going to add all the activities that I am going to teach you in the coming 2 sessions within this. Okay, let's take it as day 4. Okay. Let me remind you, to make an edit, we have to press enter. I hope all of my teachers are well known about it. So let's add this activity. Here, you can find forum. From the combined section, from all, we can find forum. Let's give a forum name. So let's make something real about this. So let's discuss about an actual topic. So I'm going to ask a question: offline or online? If given a choice, I'm going to ask you, my dear participants, about whether if you're given a choice, you can go back to the complete offline mode of training, or you can go with a hybrid mode of training in future. Which one will you choose and why so? I'm going to give you an idea where views have to be exchanged on the topic that whether, imagine I'm giving you a hypothetical situation where all the circumstances are completely available for going back to the offline mode of training. What will be your opinion? Will you be supporting the idea that let's go back to the offline mode, the old way of teaching, let's forget about all of these things? Or will you prefer to continue this mode of training to such extent? We know that the combined mode of training can be called as a hybrid mode of training. I'm going to create a forum for discuss this particular idea. Divya madam has added, yes, discussion platform is for information sharing. So first is a forum name. So we just created a forum to a particular section just by adding an activity. Then we are first giving the forum name. Here we are giving a name for the topic. Then we are going to add a description. Let's add a description here. Okay, I have typed a description here to avoid. Okay. So next thing to discuss is we can change the type of this forum to the following. Let's make it a single simple discussion. Then each person posts one discussion. We can make it as a Q&A forum. We can make it as a standard forum displayed in a blog-like format. And also we can make it a standard forum for general use. For the sake of this, I'm going to select this particular format. So it's up to you to select which of the format in which this has to be displayed. Next is availability. I'm quite sure that when we learned about creating an assignment yesterday, this particular thing would have been covered. So I'm going to enable the due date, which simply informs the system to start the activity or the availability of this particular activity from this time onwards. The next thing is attachment and word counts. So if someone joined in between and if they don't have any connection between, we are discussing about how to add a forum to our section. Forum is just a medium where ideas and views of students and teachers can be exchanged. We are going to look into what are the different aspects of it by explaining the settings of it. First, we have given the forum name, then we have given a description, then we have talked about the availability, then attachment and word count. You might be wondering why this thing is so crucial here. Has anyone think that? So why we are restricting this, how many words a student can type? Why we have to restrict that? Because it costs memory. Eventually, we are going to take this system and to host on our server. So it's very important us to have an optimization in every activity assignments we give so that the server will not overload and cause a problem in the future. So it must be, as a teacher, you must be very aware of the size that you allow for any particular activity that you give. Let it be an assignment or let it be a simple forum. So here we can actually restrict the size and number of files that can be present within this activity. Next thing is subscription and tracking. Understand, once we create an activity to a particular course, it will be accessible to everyone. Is the statement right or wrong? I want my teachers or trainers.
Actually depends. Yeah, it actually depends on the availability, what we like, or that what we post. Like if there is a restriction option in most of that components, so we can actually restrict. If we do not restrict, then it will be available to everyone who is enrolled for that course, or depends on the system level or the course level. The things, the resources.
Very good, Sandeep sir. Where did you get this idea?
We have been doing it, so
in our discussion, this thing ever came?
No. Well, in the previous topics, like we have added activities, resources, and many other things. Like we have created courses, we have added teachers. So there was a component which was, which is we can say a constant, which is a uniform in most of the components. That was the restriction element was there.
Yes.
So in that we can pose that restriction. If we are not posing any restriction, then it will be available on the level we are posting it to. And but if we post any restriction, then it will be within that limit.
Thank you, sir. So let me emphasize what Sandeep sir mentioned. So it is the beauty of Moodle that we can pinpoint every point of activity, resource, time, everything according to our will to our students. So we can actually restrict the availability of a particular content. Just like that, I want all of you to be informed about a particular thing about this activity forum. For a forum, this is not a mandatory activity that a student has to be completed. We can have that privilege to make it so. For that, we have an additional facility which is known as subscription and tracking. Here, we have 4 different options. Optional subscription means when we are creating or saving this forum as an optional subscription, a student may or may not can participate in that particular discussion. So it's not mandatory for them. If it's a forced subscription, what will happen is it becomes mandatory for them to attempt and it will automatically send a notification after 30 minutes of this particular forum being created. So the difference, so if you ask me, I would suggest you to give a forced subscription, because we are giving this. If this is going to be an immediate discussion or immediate point which need to be resolved, then we must give it as a forced subscription, so that all the participants will be notified about this particular forum is active in their course. I hope all of you get that. Auto subscription can be added, and we can also make it disabled. There are many other options too. And also the teacher, we can read the tracking of it. Tracking simply means how many people responded, how many of them reacted to it. These kinds of things are known as tracking. Also, you must understand that we can actually make an assessment from forum activity 2. Yes, that means a teacher can actually give marks to the responses given in a forum 2. So forum is simply a discussion mode, but through that discussion, if a teacher wants that to be evaluated and to be added in a grade book, it also been possible. Discussion locking. Obviously, we can lock a particular discussion for a particular, after a particular period. Post threshold for blocking. So we can set a time period for the posting to be stopped. This is different from the restrict access or availability. So that we can schedule a time limit for the discussion. Whole forum grading. This is the one I was talking about. We can add or we can associate marks to a particular forum too. So this forum activity can be taken as an internal assessment too. For that, if we change it to scale or point, we can associate it to mark. Let's say I'm giving it 10 mark. Then I can choose the grading method from here. Let's make it a simple direct grading. And we can set the category into which this mark will be taken to the grade book. We can take it as an assignment, as an exam, project, or a quiz. We know that these are the main different areas in which a grade book will be updated with the marks of all the activities given to a particular course. If any of this is confusing you, please feel free to chat. We can also set a minimum grade for passing. So understand, forum is not for fun only. We can make an assessment from that too. This is the only information that all my teachers should be aware of regarding this particular activity. Then ratings. Ratings is actually where this is regarding the marks we are associating. So we can actually rate. So we can give the permission to a particular teacher or non-teaching staff or a particular association. According to their privileges, we can set this. This is actually related to an admin permission. So rating can be taken as average, count, maximum, minimum, or sum. So understand that there are some point which is weighed out of our scope of discussion. So don't get confused. I just want every one of the points to be mentioned. I know, to be brutally honest with you, how many of you really feel that, oh, this is going to be really a great task. I don't think we can learn everything about Moodle in 5 days. How many of you share the same feeling? By hearing, you are spending your most of the day here with us. And how many of you are left alone with the feeling that this is going to take a lot of efforts and somehow someone are disappointed? How many of you feel that way?
By practice, we can do that. I think so.
Yes. Swapna ma'am asked with practice, but are you willing to do the practice? But I'm not here to tell you all about this, whether you are willing or whether you are not. We are here to simply inform and confirm you that this is going to be a very simple task And with the basic computer knowledge and with some logical thinking, you can play with the Moodle. So we are giving you the maximum possible information that will enable you to self-learn even. If you miss some point, with this, after this FDP, you will be confident that you can create or you can learn anything about Moodle with this by knowing some basic things about it. First of all, even if, don't worry if you are not able to practice with us, and if you think that you are missing some major point, and if you not practice, this all is going to wane, nothing at all. If you are going to be, if you just listen to this classes at least, then you will understand that every settings is very simple and you can learn it all by yourself too, if a need is there. So let's continue back. So rating, please understand rating, and don't worry about any other. There are many more features, which is a scope, even scope of the discussion. So don't worry about that things if nothing is not getting completely. Let's take the common module setting. So this is an important stuff. So I'm not sure how many of you actually heard about. So Sandeep sir beautifully explained about it, but I believe he has some previous knowledge with the restriction, because I am supposed to take restriction after the 2 o'clock session, in the 2 o'clock session, right? So I don't think my teachers are well informed about how to set restrictions for an activity. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Have you learned about, have you heard about restriction setting for a particular activity in Moodle?
Well, it was discussed, you know, in previous days, it was discussed about the
So
restriction when
everyone
we were
know
doing
that.
the group and grouping and all. So
Oh,
then
very good, very good. So okay,
it
then
was discussed.
so let me tell you about, thank you, sir. Let me tell you about common module settings then. Common module settings will outrun all the permissions that we set for a particular group or a particular module. So we can make this available even though the students are not, even though we have set a restriction there, this common module setting will outrun all. Once it's available, or once it's enabled, it will be available to all the subscribed students of a particular course, irrespective of their batch assigned or the restrictions we put. Also, we can give an ID number for our reference. So this ID number is for our reference only, for to pinpoint a particular forum, because in a course we can have many forum to differentiate which one, and for our internal purposes we can give an ID number. It's up to our choice, and you can create a different group also. Then we have the restrict access method. So this is what I discussed about. So if you know how to set the restriction, I'm so happy to do that. So we have these kinds of, let me remind you about the different areas in which we can split different points through which we can set actually a restriction. Then we are discussing about activity completion. So here we can set whether a student can manually mark the activity as completed or not. And we can set a date for that. Then we can add hashtags, so we can create tags for associating this activity. So once a course is completed, once this activity is completed, we can set a particular thing associated with it. What's next? That's it. So we can have these. So understand, my dear teachers, most of this is not, may not be coming to your area or may not be redundant, but just understand these things. By this, let's see how this will be effective. So let me ask you a question. So I have created a similar forum in our Pathshala. How many of you are ready and able to access Pathshala and try this out right now? just asking. I just need your yes or no here. If possible, please do that, and please have the experience all by yourself. I request all my teachers to complete this. So understand, even though we are setting a particular activity, going with the default mode will be enough for you. And also understand, every setting can be learned very easily and you can have everything. So we just discussed most of the important points you should know about forum. It's a medium where ideas and views on a particular issues can be exchanged, and it can be made into a grade activity too. We can take assessments from that too. Okay, only Sandeep sir is in a position to access, and okay, I want everyone to try this out, please. Now, next we are going to look into another activity here, which is a feedback, which is a survey. So let me ask you, I know most of my teachers know what about a survey, but let me stop you right there. So if you're going to think that, understand, we have two different ideas which will serve the same purpose. We have a survey and a feedback. We are going to learn survey and feedback now. Understand, Moodle is providing us a survey which is actually a preset one. So can anyone please tell me the difference between a survey and a feedback? Because we have two activities which seems similar. Okay, Sandeep sir, as always, Sandeep sir raise his hand. Please, sir, by the time I take this, please go with the discussion.
Well, survey is to basically get the information of an opinion, like it's getting an opinion of a person that what he thinks about a particular topic. But when we talk about feedback, it's something like someone has experienced our services. Like usually we take the feedback of our product or services when we give them any product or service, and then we ask about their feedback about ourselves, like how they like, whether they like the product or not, or what kind of changes he wants us to make in that particular product or service. That is feedback, that is for us. But survey is like when we want to know before like how I can say, survey is to gather information pre-handed before anybody actually, or like it's not related to a product or service. When we run the survey, we generally take an opinion, like a general opinion we take from the public, or to whomsoever we want to get that survey filled, about their opinions, like what they think about in general. But when we about the feedback, it means something which they have already used, and then they want to give that the feedback about that particular product or service.
Thank you, sir. So imagine a situation, what survey that we can conduct from a Moodle platform. Think about why we are using the Moodle platform at the first place. We are using the Moodle platform is to give the students an experience of learning. So in survey, what actually Moodle, the survey activity of Moodle is actually designed to evaluate students' experience on this platform. That means it's a preset one. I'm here to talk about the survey activity or survey activity of Moodle. We are going to create a survey here, but let me tell you, this is a preset one in Moodle. We cannot set the questions by ourselves. Instead, they have used two different survey methods, which is in the field of adult education, which will examine the user satisfaction or student satisfaction from this learning platform. Let us see what's happened. Just like adding any other activity, let's first give the name. Let me give it next. We can give any name. Let me give it experience survey. And here we can choose the survey type. So let me tell you, survey is a preset one. Let me remind you the fact once again. Survey is a preset one. We can choose either ATTLS or COLLES version. So what COLLES is Constructivist Online Learning Environment Survey. So this is actually created by a scholar known as Stephen Brookfield. His area of expertise is on adult education. So he designed a particular survey with a particular question, a particular set of questions, which enables the teacher to understand about a student's learning experience, especially online learning experience. So this is what to say, a standard survey to assess the online experience of a particular student. So it's available here. And also there is ATTLS, which is known as Attitudes to Thinking and Learning Survey. This will eventually, so there is a little background information you all must understand about this. So this will eventually, you know that this platform is actually providing students the power of collaboration. When in offline mode or a normal class, a student has to individually write his note, individually take it to himself and learn it and imbibe all the things. But just because this is a collective platform, we can actually check the attitude of a student or the personality of them, which makes them a connected knower or a separate knower. A connected, because in this platform or an online platform, we are sharing information. We are a part of a shared knowledge sharing. We all have a common note. We all have a common resource. Think about a situation. We have 30 students in a class. We are giving a lecture. 30 students will take that notes into 30 different ways, right? But in an online session or in a cloud platform, everyone will get the same resource. And there is a collective learning. So these two surveys are designed to assess some of the complex things in education, to want to know about students' aspects, whether they are enjoying online studies, through which we can modify the contents and overall experience or creation of a particular platform itself to enhance that. So this is actually for us to, this survey is for us to, or it's a motivation or actually a feedback for us or information for us to modify our efforts for online education. So understand COLLES and ATTLS are two technical terms, which is the name of a particular survey available, created by a person, and it's preset within this. Just as we said, we can see the same features and settings here. So we are not going to explain it again. Let's say.
So what about the other surveys? What about the other surveys which are there?
Yeah, you have seen whatever you have seen. It's the same with some questions taken out.
Okay, got it.
Okay, it's not different. There is only two main things are there, ATTLS and COLLES, and they have taken the basic ATTLS, something like that. That's only difference.
Thank you.
So we cannot change. So let me tell you some of the questions. So we can see now the activity is ready. We can see the questions marked there. So understand, survey cannot be edited. It is a preset one, and it is preset to two prominent survey. You can see that questions here. My learning focuses on the issues that interest me, questions like that. I can critically think about how I learn. So these are psychological questions through which we can get the satisfaction of a student from this platform or from any online platform. I hope you all are getting the idea. So these are the two things about. So we have discussed forum and survey so far. Understand? Survey is all about
I have a question here.
Yeah.
before we move on to the next topic,
Yes.
we have discussed about a a course level forum, right?
Once again.
We have discussed about the course level forum, like we have created a forum for that particular course which we have designed, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So I just wanted to know, is there any option to create a system wise forum? Like, if you want to create, if you want to create a forum or, a panel discussion, on our campus basis, like,
I understand. I understand your
not
question.
restricted
Please.
to, yeah. So
Okay,
how we can do that?
Please correct me if my conception is wrong or not. Okay. So whether we are adding a particular student to a particular course, that's the reality of this platform, isn't it? So we can create several courses and we can add different students to different courses. And
Right.
Sandeep sir is asking whether there is a possibility where we can create a common activity which will reflect all the courses or which can be made into a part of all the courses. Is that it?
Well, rather we can say a bigger picture, like where all the job roles can also, like, when I say forum, it's very much like maybe I'm maybe I'm not getting the correct idea. Like very much like a Facebook, like, or any social media platform where we create a topic, or where people can discuss things,
Exactly.
in an open environment.
Yes. Yes, Sandesh, I understand that, but I didn't get your question actually. So do you want, or are you asking whether we can have the ability to give this to all the courses that we make? Since if we think about it, I have to get the idea from all the students of my school or my institution.
Well,
So
not only students, that's what I'm saying, not only students, I want to keep that forum open to everybody who is, associated, like, anyone who is connected to my Moodle system. Like, so I want to say the system wide forum I'm talking about.
So understand. So Sandeep sir, you must understand one basic feature that we are actually separating. So we have one thing you have to remember, that we have separated the individuals or the stakeholders or the users of this platform into students, graded teachers, non-grading teachers, or any other things criteria we have created. So we have a criteria. Yes, yes. And also we have students which is enrolled to a particular course only. We can restrict that, right?
Right.
So what you are asking whether there is a possibility of keeping a space where all the members can have a space where they can interact with each other. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, sir.
So
maybe
let me add something.
Or maybe
Gokul.
post some topic, of an open discussion.
Yeah, please,
Sandeep
please.
sir, actually, I got your question. Like in Moodle, we have courses. Actually, courses separate different. We create separate courses of separate different purposes. And if you have a provision to include all the stakeholders, like you mentioned, it can be the office staff, it can be teachers, not teachers, everyone, including all the bigger team into one particular course, then we can have the this particular post coming inside. Otherwise, how they get, we can create a template, and we do have a provision to share it with others, right? So that place in Moodle is generally a course. So we have to enroll them into a course so that everyone can access the forum that we create.
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Riji sir. So that is a creative way of solving this particular problem. Sandeep sir could understand that. So it is, you must understand that the way in which Moodle is designed is to separate people and all the entities as different courses. So we have, think about the students and the other staffs. We have divided everything into different courses. So Riji sir provided a logical solution for your query. We can create a course and we can make every access, every users of the platform to that particular course, so that in that we can do this. Or we cannot create an independent space which is apart from a course where we can have these facilities. Thank you, Ruchi sir. Now let's learn about feedback. We're going to add the next activity to our section, which is a feedback. As we said, or as we heard, as Sandeep sir mentioned, feedback is something that gives us a reflection on our efforts through this platform. Let's see what Moodle has for us. Let's take it from here. Feedback has a symbol with the megaphone. Let me give a hypothetical mid-level feedback. I'm just giving some name. So understand everything. Start with the name, mid-level feedback. I'm going to give a description. No. It's just with the basic one. I'm so lazy to type. First of all, let's discuss about the main settings which is actually come into picture here. Availability, we all know that, when to make this particular activity available in our system. Then question and submission setting. This is the unique setting which comes with the feedback activity. Let's learn about this. So we can either make this feedback as an anonymous one or with the user's name. According to your need, we can make this quest anonymous or not, which means we can create a feedback which will not record the student's name. We can change that settings here itself. Also, we can set whether we can allow multiple submissions or not. We can also enable notifications for a particular submissions. I think as a teacher, we can see that the calendar and an activity Moodle will be sending us the notifications regarding an assignment evaluation or assignment reminder, or whether a particular time limit is coming. Everything Moodle system will give us a reminder. That's one. This. Also, we can create auto number questions. So these are some basic things. You all can just simply go through and understand that. After submission, we can give them a completion message. And also, we can either give them the opportunity to see the analysis page where all the graphical representation of the data that collected from the survey is represented with all participants. So if you want to keep that away from students, let's take it. No. Then let's give a completion message. Thank you so much for your feedback. Oh, I'm so sorry. Then, as I said, common module setting will outrun the existing settings, so restrictions that are made available to a particular thing. Also, we can restrict access with activity completion, date, grade, group, user profile, and also a combination of them. That is restriction set. Just like that, we can set activity completion, tags, and competencies. So my teachers, please understand only this particular thing, or the questions are submission settings are new. Questions are submission settings, and after submission is inherent and particular with this activity feedback. So this is the inherent setting that we must be aware of. Feedback, we are saving and display it. Once we say it, we will be able to create questions to this particular feedback. So here we have created a mid-level feedback now, and now we have the provision. We can see the overview here. Let's start editing the questions. So when we create it, we don't have the provision to add questions. Once we create the activity, then we will be adding questions to it. Let's see what are the different options they give to ask questions. First, add a page break. So understand this is going to be an activity, this is going to be a space. In that, we can create a page break. Sorry. First, let's understand what is a page break. It's actually a space. So this will be reflected once after we finish this quiz. So whenever we want to have some space or a page break between them, we can create that. Just like the appearance of it. Don't get too much worried about it. Adding page break will create a space. It will give a dissociation, a feeling of division in the appearance. We can set them. So we know that CAPTCHA is used to check whether a user or a machine, we have to check the authenticity of the user, whether a bot or a real person is attempting the feedback. So we can either add a CAPTCHA here. Then let's add some information there. So let's begin our feedback with some information. Let me explain these kinds of things to you. The position actually represents, so we have added, think about, we have added 3 different items already. So this will come to the position 3. So we can make this to position 1 and can add this. I'm not quite sure whether they have asked us a question or not. That's a question for debate. So let me set you for every question you make, you can, or for every portion of this question you make, you can see a position. It will determine the order of that particular thing in the overall feedback. Let's save the questions. You can see that. This is how it will appear in the forum or in a feedback. So first, we have given an information. Then we are adding a CAPTCHA. We are asking a CAPTCHA from them. Then we have a page break. Let me show you at the end. You will see what is a page break. So page break is actually giving a space in the UI. Now let's get to the real questions. Let's create a longer text answer where we can actually take them some feedback from them. Imagine we want to know something about our class in which students have to be discussing with us in a descriptive mode. Think about, we are actually experiencing what are the major improvements that we can have. In such scenarios, we can use a longer text answer. I hope all of my teachers are aware about that. So let me give you a question. What are the difficulties you face in your online sessions? Let's label it if you want. We can set the width, number of lines, and position. I remind you, position actually determines the order of appearance. Think about position is the order of appearance of this particular question in the overall feedback. Let's save the question. See, this is how it will appear. So understand, we have 4 items here. First, we have information that completely describes about what our feedback is. Then we can add a CAPTCHA if you want. It will determine, it will help us to create a CAPTCHA code. It will be help us to avoid a bot from answering this particular feedback. Then we have added a long type question. Also next we have a short text answer. and we are going it in the random. Okay, improvements if any. I'm going to ask them improvements if any. We can set a label if you want. Again, we are very conscious about the characters because it's actually data that may provide load to our server. So we can set that too. And we are making this as position 5. So this is the appearance of our feedback right now. Next, so we discussed about add a page break. It will eventually give a space. We can add a captcha. We can provide information. We can create a label. Label means a section. From that, we can add it. We can add a longer text answer. Next, let's talk about the multiple choice question. How to add a multiple choice question? This is going to be the most of our feedbacks are associated with the multiple choice question. Let's select a multiple choice question here. How is the training experience to you? We can either choose a single answer or multiple answer. We also have an option whether we have multiple choices, but only a single answer is allowed. We can either make it a horizontal arrangement or vertical arrangement, which means the options will appear horizontally or vertically. So normally by default, we are giving the permission for the user for not attempting a particular question in feedback 2. For that, we can add a not selected also. Apart from the options we give to this particular question, we can also set a not selected. Let's hide that. Yes, I'm hiding it. So my students will get a feeling that they have to attempt any one of them. Let's give multiple choice value. So here, understand that we will be providing each options or choice on one line. So let's give them poor. This is the option 1. Average. Good. Excellent. So we note that this question will take the position 6. The order of appearance will be 6. Let's save the question. So this is it. When we create a question, multiple choice question, this will be how it appears. Let me edit this and show you what if we given different settings for this. Here, multiple choice type can be where the student can type a single answer or multiple answers. We can make it horizontal if you want. And I'm changing it to no, which means we can see a not selected option also. Yes, understand this feedback will be once a student is or one student or students have finished putting the feedback, our system, MOODLE system will create an analysis of the data that will provide us the result from it in a pictorial manner. So we will get an analysis of the particular feedback. For that, if a particular student have not taken this, we can choose whether not to take the empty subject, empty submit from this question. So make sure that you are putting no here. Now the arrangement changes. This is the only thing that you must be aware of, giving multiple choice questions. So let's create another question. To create the question, you have to come to the top. So now we are left with a multiple choice with ratings. Understand? A rating is something we can actually ask from the students. So we can associate a rating to a particular. We can additionally add a rating to the particular options. So rate the trainers, rate the quality of trainers, rate the knowledge level, yeah. You can either make it vertical or horizontal. Here you must understand that so the choice starts from 0. So apart from in the last example, when we created a multiple choice question to the feedback, we can simply give the options in line by line. Here we just have to add the number also. So this is the initial value. Let me give it this poor. So when I'm going to give the second rating, so the second rating the students can give is 1. So the least rating the students can give is 0 in this case. Then for average, he will assign a rating as 1. For good, he will give us a rating 2. For 3, let them give very good. For 5, for 4, let's give excellent. Okay. For experiment purpose, let's stop at 4. It's not a good practice. I beg your pardon. Let's save this question. Let's see how this will appear. So this will eventually take a rating to the analysis. So you might be wondering why this is. So this is actually help the analysis part of the system to be effective. So if we ask questions like ratings, it will be able to make the system produce a data on percentage format. So how many of the students? So think about for a particular question, the rating can be represented as a histogram. We'll show you in an example. So I hope, let's give a label. And I will make it to the 6th position. Label is simply a description. That's it. Now you can see that it will create 2 distinction, in which for the first portion with written answers and the second portion with multiple choice questions. So this is how we can create feedback. And once we create a feedback, the second step, we have to add questions to it. By adding the questions, what are the available options? We can add a page break, which essentially saves up some space. We can ask the user to submit a CAPTCHA to ensure a bot is not answering and an actual human is answering it. Then we can add information at anywhere, which will provide some data about or make a context setting regarding the particular section of the feedback. We can create a label, which will eventually can be used to divide a particular feedback into 2 parts or 3 parts, whatever. Then we can add a long text answer where students can write elaborately about a problem or experience or anything that matters. We can have a multiple choice option. We can also have a rated multiple choice question. And the importance of this is Once we take this as a rating, it will be easy for the system to produce it as a histogram. So it will, the difference will be reflected in the analysis. System can eventually provide us some data representation. Also, we can ask a numeric answer. Think about the level of satisfaction or percentage satisfaction. We can literally ask the students about the percentage satisfaction from this course. Let's add a numeric answer, or whether anything particularly. If we have a numeric number to be taken from the students, we can give a numeric answer. So I hope all the different types of questions we have discussed so far. Now let's talk about templates. Think about, just like Sandeep Goel sir said, once we a forum create, can we share with everyone? That's a genuine question when we heard when we create a forum. Yes, once a forum is created, can it be reused with many courses? Just like that, once a feedback is created, we can save it as a template. So let's go to the templates bar. Here, we can save this particular template that I have created and save us. Also, we can use another template that have been created as any part of the course in this particular system. We can save it. So all the saved templates will be listed here so that we don't have to type the question again and again. Think about the mid-level feedback is saved as a template. Then if a teacher who is creating another course don't have to create it from scratch. So we can reuse a particular template. We can reuse a particular feedback by saving it as a template. Also, we can export and import questions to a particular template too. So these are the facilities or actions available with template. We can either choose a pre-saved template. Also, we can save this particular template. That's this set of questions here also. The next part is the analysis. So once the students submit data, we will get the result in an analyzed manner. It will list out all the answers. It will be combining the answers and it will provide us in a very useful, it will show us the data in a very useful manner. We will be showing you once you guys will complete the feedback in Pathshala. Let's take show responses. Show responses will individually, so the analysis will give the overall idea of the feedback, overall experience. So this is actually a data representation. For getting the individual responses, we can take show response. So if we given it anonymously, students' names will not be listed. But if you're not taking this feedback as anonymous and we are requesting the user to, every user is attempting this feedback from their account. So there is no choice. So the system will hide their name if we set it as anonymous. That's the only difference we have. So here we will get all the submitted answers of this particular feedback. This is the things regarding the activity feedback. Let me take time to comprehend all this once again. First step, we can simply create an activity or resource. Here we have to go with feedback. Let's give a name, description. Availability is nothing. Question and submission setting is the inherent settings with this feedback. Here we have to choose whether we are taking the data as anonymous or user's name as reflected. Whether we have allow multiple submissions, whether a student is given only one chance to submit a feedback or can be given multiple chance. Whether we have to enable notification or whether we have to number the questions. These are the settings available, or the inherent setting you must be aware about feedback. Every else is we have seen in other activities. Then once we save it, we will, from the edit questions, we can add questions to a particular feedback. Here the available options are, we can add multiple choice question with rating. We can add a long text answer. We can add a short text answer. To create a spacing between them, we can add a page break. We can ask the user to submit a captcha code to check whether they are not a robot or not. We can add information, which is simply a piece of data. We can add label, which will be dividing a particular section and give a feeling of difference in the whole system. Also, we can, at last, also we can take a numeric answer, or we can collect a numeric answer from the participant too. These are the available questions. We can set questions on our need. Then we don't have to type questions. We have the option to import questions from another template, and whether once a question is saved with our system, it will be listed here, and we can choose that template if we want, or else if we created questions to that, we can even save it as a new template under the template section itself. Also, we can delete a particular template if we don't need it. In analysis section, once the students mark their responses, we will get the analysis of the report. It is a graphical and combined representation of the all responses. So here we can assess, or we can get the information about the complete feedback. If we want an individual feedback, we will get it in the show responses. If it is not anonymous, we will be listed with the name of the participants with even the time of submitting the assignment or submitting this particular activity. I hope my teachers get some idea of it, but let me tell you, it's going to be simple. Even if you find it hard to comprehend anything, once you practice it, you will feel that this is a piece of cake for you. So we just explained the major aspects behind it. The necessary features you must understand before using it. But let me emphasize you, even if you are going with the preset values, nothing will happen. You can play with it. This is eventually trying out things. There are many features. Some of them are out of scope of the discussion. And please feel free to. This will be only effective once we play and learn with it. With this, let's move to the last activity for this particular session, which is adding a chat facility. I think Sandeep Goyal sir is going to be a little happy with that, because in a particular section, we can actually create an option for chat. Let's see how that can be done. Here, from all activities, you can select a chat. Let's create a chat room. Let's create exam preparation. We are going to create a chat room which name as exam preparation. Just giving something for namesake. So do you know why all these facilities are added in Moodle? Because eventually we are trying to replace all the communication gap through this platform. We know that we are going to take everyone, our students and teachers, to this platform. So collaboration is something that we miss in online sessions, or else it's very difficult to actually communicate in an online platform. So these kinds of tools or activities is created to match those shortcomings of the online session. So as a teacher or as a creator of a course, you must be aware that you must provide every possible assets to students to make this platform interactive and useful. Let's create a chat session. So in this, we can create a chat session. This is the inherent. Let me inform you that what is the inherent settings with a chat session. So chat session can be activated for a particular time. This is not going to be inherently available for. Understand, every participant or every user is getting a chat option. That's different from this particular chat. This is a chat session, so that the teacher can limit the chat activity. So chat time can be set. We can also make it repeat. So this is just like we are making some event in a calendar. So we can give a time. Think about, we are every evening, we are giving from 7 or 8, we are activating a chat session where students can come and interact with everyone in the class. This is eventually a chat session. Sorry. So if we want, we can make it repeated for a particular time. So this eventually this will be dividing. So each chat session will be saved as different, and whether we can set everyone can see the past session or not, or select temporary. So think about how can we use or integrate this to our course. These are the available facilities with Moodle. And believe me, how many of you have the feeling that most of the activities seems similar? All it's very easy to create each and everything. It's just you have to know about how some things works or not. What are the inherent settings with that? If you know that, then everything will be easier. So by going through all these kinds of different activities, you must be came to an understanding that everything seems similar. So with some observation, anyone can absorb these ideas very easily.
Well, so I have a little question here in the chat session, which you have just minimized. Can you please expand this? Yes. So in that, we can mention that the next chat time, but it is not mentioning the duration, like how long we can open that particular chat. Right. So
yeah, right, sir.
How we can define, like, like we want that, that in that particular course, there should be a repeated chat every day for say like 10 minutes. We want to open the chat session. So in the repeated, we can do every day. But where we can mention that, the limit after that chat, chat should be disabled, or the time limit.
Time limit is it. Let me check whether it's an admin feature. So we know that we are using a teacher's access to limit this, and we have more admin privileges, which will give more privileges to a teacher. Maybe that's available, maybe that's not inherently available, or it can be an admin privilege which can be given to a particular teacher. I have to look more into it to understand this.
Okay.
We will get back to you once I have a clear answer, sir.
Okay.
So let's save this and see how this will work. So this will eventually the chat. See, you can change the theme a little bit. This is how a chat will be available. So that was the thing that we have to discuss for the sessions from 11:30 to 1. We somehow completed it within time. We have taken 7 more minutes, even though we started at 11:50. But odds are with us, so that most of you are not trying. We have actually planned to give you these activities and by giving you some time to practice it. But eventually Sandeep Goyal sir was the only person who was connected from a computer and able to practice this at time. So we just debunked it. So let me remind all of my dear teachers that even if you can't go with the flow, understand the things, the basics things from the explanation, You can do this. Anyone can simply adhere to this and make the settings. And also, the Moodle's document will give you all the necessary step-by-step instruction if you have a doubt on it regarding a particular topic. So in the afternoon session, the first afternoon session, we will be discussing about 2 more features, 3 more features of LARC. Sorry, Moodle. I'm so sorry. So shall we break for the lunch and come back if you don't have any more questions to ask?
Okay, so in between Google, I just want to add something. Can I?
Yeah, sure, ma'am, please.
Yes. Okay, so the participants, as per request from some of your peer members, I have extended the workshop mode assignment available to you in the Pathshala till 2 p.m. today. Okay, so I got some requests from your peer members, so I am extending the submission of the assignment in the workshop mode under day 3 in Pathshala till 2 p.m. today. Okay, 1 more hour is there. So those who didn't submitted the assignment in the workshop mode, they can submit till 2 p.m. Okay, after that, I will open it for the assessment. So those who didn't submit it, they can submit. Others, please ignore this. Okay. And one more thing, under day 3, we had added some videos also. I don't know how many of you gone through it. We had added 3 or 4 videos, that is how to download the Moodle and configure it and customize it. And one more thing, hosting. Okay, so these 4 videos are added to your Pathshala under day 3. So if possible, you can do all the activities, because tomorrow we are having a session on virtual programming lab. Okay, so that can't be, it is actually a plugin that has to be installed in Moodle, that we can't done in the Moodle cloud. So if possible, if you can download and configure Moodle in your local system, then it will be easy to do the virtual programming lab. Okay, so that's the 2 things I just want to remember you. One about the workshop mode assignment, and other 4 videos we had posted in the day 3 session in Pathshala. Thank you. Thank you, Google.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
ma'am.
Ashwati ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you,
madam.
Google sir. Thank you, Google sir. Thank you for such a fruitful